Alright, hey everyone, how's it going? This is Christopher Z, of course, and Mikey All-Star here, and today we have another commentary video. Oh yeah! So I've been doing these in the past. Each time that I make 6 new short films, I do a commentary on these 6, and kind of, not necessarily a commentary, but just kind of like a, hey, what was it like making this, where did I get these ideas, all that stuff. So, kind of like a behind the scenes, I guess, is really more accurately. The more accurate name for this. So, this time we'll be looking at the 6 latest short films that I made. I've already done two other videos on the ones before this. So, we are taking a look at The Block, Emergency, The Envelope, or Envelope if you will, Unknowing, Reinsert Memory Card, and Stunt Double. So I feel like The Block out of all of these is probably the one that stands out the most to me personally because it is very different from the rest, which is why it stands out. What really? Yeah, of course, it makes sense, right? So basically, the idea for this one is that there's this writer who has a writer's block, which is where the block comes from, the title of this video, and they're trying to figure out where to go with a story. Now, this one is very different from the rest because most of them are pretty humorless, honestly. There's not a whole lot of happiness in these short films, except for this one, which I wanted to do because I was like, I've done all of these depressing noir sort of videos. What if I make something that's kind of happy? Something kind of unexpected from these short films, which are really just more or less experiments that I just, experiments with storytelling and experiments with cinematography, really, is what they're all about. And this one I was like, I want to do something unexpected. I really haven't done anything that's either, silly or just kind of fun. So that's what I did with this one. I kind of just wanted to make something that would be silly and fun, like I said. So that is The Block, yes. And it ends with the guy figuring out, hey, I've got the solution right here. And then he ends the call, and Mikey's just like, what's the answer? What happens next? And basically just poking fun at the idea that all of these other ones have endings that really aren't conclusive and kind of leave you guessing and leave you thinking is really the main goal of them. Some of these really are just like, oh, there's something that could happen. There's only a few things that could happen here, but which one is it exactly? But just kind of poking fun at the idea that all of these are very open-ended endings. So yeah, so that was The Block. There's not really too much going on there. It's more or less just kind of a little fun thing they wanted to make and to, well, have fun with. So, alright. Next up, here is one that is vastly different from The Block, which is Emergency. Now, this one, I'm really not sure where I got the idea for this, honestly. It just kind of came to me that I can't really remember the thought process of these. Sometimes they just pop into my mind. Other times it's just like such a big thought process. It's like, what do I do with this? What do I do? And this one really was more of an experimentation with cinematography as well. There really wasn't too much going on with the story. It was more of the idea of like this sort of fiery looking reality with the different lighting, with the red lighting, and really kind of more exploring like different colors within these short films, since most of them are in black and white or sepia, however you pronounce that, and like this weird like blue sort of thing. I don't know what that is, like super chilled filter, I don't know. But this one I really wanted to explore more with color. There are segments that are in black and white, I believe, or perhaps sepia. For the parts where he's in the house and he's like seeing these weird visions of like kind of the hellish landscape and is being haunted by the things that he's done in the past. So I didn't really want to like per se like show exactly what he did, like to show like well, you get a pretty good idea of like what he's done, like with some of the scenes, like with him holding a gun to a person and then hitting someone as well. He's very haunted by what he's done in the past, so that's really what I wanted to try to display here, kind of like an idea of like, oh, hey, he's done some really bad stuff, man. He's really carrying that with him, and he's kind of shut it down and shoved it down to a deeper level. But it kind of comes up in this situation here. It's kind of like there's a being haunting him that is showing him these ideas that, hey, man, bad stuff has happened. And then with the ending, I wanted to do like, oh, it was all a dream, or was it? If there's like one last little shot there that really kind of shows like, wait a second, was he taking a look at the future, or was he looking, or like what exactly was happening? Basically, when I wanted the ending to kind of be like, hey, did that actually happen? Is he okay now? Or hey, is he stuck in like some sort of circle, kind of like maybe in hell or something, where he's kind of stuck having to repeat this day over and over again in a way, or this specific event, or like, hey, is this like the future of like what's going to happen to him? So yeah, that's what I really wanted to do with Emergency. Now I'm going to say this, I won't actually give away any actually like the official ending, since there really isn't any official endings to these, but I just wanted to just throw out some ideas here that maybe they could be the answer. Yeah. Next up, we have the envelope, or the envelope, however you want to pronounce it. Yes. And I've got to say, that as these go on, they start to get really close to not being called short films anymore. This one is the longest one at 8 minutes and 54 seconds. So it's basically almost 9 minutes long, and I call it a short film, which in reality is a short film because films are usually around like an hour 30 and over. But my quote-unquote films, I usually make them around 10 to 20 minutes, and even still, I don't think I have no, I do have a 20-minute film, that's right, compendium. But, yes, this one is very close to basically just being a quote-unquote full-length movie in my terms on the channel. But, so this one, I got the idea randomly one night. Like I said, I really don't remember how exactly I got into this thought process. I guess maybe I was just talking to a friend or something, and I just got the idea of, hey, what if you were given your death in, like, an envelope, when you were going to die? It's kind of along the lines of, like, there's this one movie, I don't remember what it's called, but there's this app that tells you how long you have to live. It's kind of along those lines. There's probably some other stuff, too, that I can't remember that does that as well. It's not a very new concept, but it's just a concept I really like, and I wanted to explore. And basically what I did was, of course, at your birth, you're given this envelope, which why it's called envelope, and you decide whether you should open it or not. It's kind of like a battle between knowing and unknowing, like going through life being surprised, like how we are right now. We don't know our death dates, but or just having that knowledge there and perhaps having more fear or being more burdened, but in the way you still have comfort in knowing that you are safe as well. It's kind of like a crossroads there. Like you can go through your life without having to worry about like when your death day is going to be. You have the answers, but you don't really have to look at them. Or knowing when your death day is, and I guess having comfort in knowing that, hey, you might survive long, or hey, this is when it's going to happen, so you don't have to worry about the future per se as much. So that's really what I wanted to try to explore, and I wanted to kind of have that battle between the parents where the mother is like, hey, no, let him open it, and like, or I don't remember, like, yeah, like, let him open it, and then dad's like, no, let him choose, don't open it for him, or whatever. And yeah, so of course the death happens on some day that was pretty important. So yeah, that's basically with the envelope. I really don't think there actually was an ending, a open-ended ending to this one, so I feel like that gives it its own sort of uniqueness in that aspect from the other ones, where the other ones are like, oh, what happens? This one's like, he's dead, that's what happens. So yeah, there's not really, I guess really you can, when you're going into this, you can infer that, hey, as soon as you figure out what the envelope means, you can infer that eventually he's going to die. But he doesn't actually, no, he does open the envelope in the end. And yeah, Anyways, so that's the envelope. Not too much there, just kind of a fun little story I wanted to tell. And I don't really remember if I did anything different with cinematography. That one just may have been just an experiment with the story. Although I did mess around with a few different things for that one. But anyways, we won't get into that. Alright, so Unknowing. Now this one, I've got to say, I do have a source for this one. It's from Limitless, I think that's what that movie is called, with Bradley Cooper, where he takes this pill and it gives him like unlimited ability. Like he becomes like a freaking like amazing person and stuff that has so many different talents and whatnot, and really enhances his life. And there's a part in the movie, I won't spoil anything, that is kind of like this in a way. So yeah, so basically the idea of this is that this guy, he goes through his life and he has these really vivid and violent dreams every night. That's where it starts, actually. The short starts of these vivid and violent dreams. And it turns out, in the end, that they weren't actually dreams, that they're actually what was happening. He has some sort of subconscious thing in his mind that happens. Like, it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, really, where he's a good guy and he's like, yeah, I'm all great and stuff. Like, I'm kind of a disgruntled worker and stuff, but I don't take it out on anybody, and I don't like really bring up anything. I don't try to put myself out there. I'm not very confident or whatever. But at night, he kind of a switch turns on. The switch is flipped. There we go. And he becomes a killer, and he has the ambition to really go the extra mile, if you will, and to really show his employer that, hey, I don't like you. So that was the basic idea, and I really wanted to explore the idea of him being confronted with this. And there's that scene at the end where he is confronted by this killer, and he realizes that it's himself, and then he kind of like, his reality kind of shatters, and he becomes the killer in the end, and yeah, the police come and whatnot. So yeah, I guess there's kind of an open-ended ending there, whereas you don't really know what happens to him, but it's kind of closed more or less because he understands now who he is. And although you don't quite get that feeling of acceptance there, like maybe he doesn't accept who he is, or maybe he does accept, like, oh, I'm a killer now, that's who I am. So there we go. Alright, so here's another one that actually, the next one is called Reinsert Memory Card. I got a story behind this one. This one is also another one that isn't really depressing or anything. And this one actually is like one of the only ones you actually see color in, besides, of course, Emergency, which you kind of see color in. You mostly see, like, red is the main color, red and, like, the different shades that go along with that, like black and, like, the dark reds and, the whites and stuff, the near whites, I should say, not, like, quite perfect white, but you know what I mean. But this one you actually do get to see color in the memories that this robot has. So the idea is basically there's a robot in somewhere in the near future that is just a worker, and he finds a memory card and he puts it inside himself, and he sees this memory of, like, this girl robot waiting for him in a park. And he doesn't know, here's the mystery behind this, he doesn't know if it's his memory card or if it's some other robot's memory card, but he realizes that he has to go and find this robot girl, and he does, and yeah. So this one is a more happier one, unlike the last one where it's pretty depressing. And so the story behind this one is I have this camera that I record all of the videos with. It is a very nice camera. I very much enjoy it. It is, let's see what here. It is a handy cam from Sony, not sponsored by Sony, by the way, and it is a very nice camera, but it has this really small micro SD card. That's the sound of the camera turning on. It has this really small micro SD card, and it is a pain to get it to actually, like, be inside the the camera, like it says, reinsert memory card, unknown card, reinsert memory card, every single time, until you get it just right. And that is what inspired this, like, a reinsert memory card. Yes, that's where it all came from. Literally just my camera yelling at me to say, hey man, you're not putting it in right. So there we go. That is reinsert memory card. It's a fairly basic concept, but it was a concept that literally came out from my camera. So the last one, and the one that I filmed, I think that was that just this month, or was that last month? I don't know. That is, of course, Stunt Double. I've had this idea for a while now, too. The idea of, like, stunt doubles, they go through a lot. They've been killed before, too, with the amount of crazy stunt work that they do. And, like, yeah, so that was kind of what the basis of this idea was for. So basically, there's a stunt double for this guy, this actor, that he does some crazy stunts, and he keeps on waking up from these, he keeps on getting, quote-unquote, knocked out from these stunts of how risky and dangerous they are. But in the end, he finds out that he indeed is not human, but he is a robot. I guess maybe he is a robot, or maybe he's a clone or something. I kind of left that open to interpretation, really, in the end. But he finds out that he is dying from this stuff, and it's basically the idea of, like, kind of a dehumanizing idea where this guy, like, he is a stunt double. He's not really a person, but he's just a stunt double. He's just made to do these insane stunts and just die after them and get reborn, basically, to do them again. So yeah, that's kind of the thing I was going off of there, to kind of, yeah, just, like, really show, like, this person just, like, going through life and not realizing that he is actually, like, being killed in these things, and to actually, like, him discovering that it's just such a shock that it all comes together. It's like, what? It's so weird. So yes, there we go. So that is all of the short films that I have made from the block all the way up to the most recent one, Stunt Double. Yes, I've got plenty more ideas where this came from, so I'm excited to make some more short films. And there we go. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!